Hi, this is Frederick from the techno label Detroit, Berlin. Today I'm going to show you how you can use a compressor to shape the sound of a kick drum or something else. The most important part is that the sound you're going to shape has a little bit of tail and has like a snap to it when it starts. Then you can have like the best results possible because the compressor knows when the attack is and has a little bit of tail to work with. So I would say join me in the Ableton Live project and I will go through various compressor settings and use a kick loop and record some variations on it, just only using the compressor to shape the sound and adding a limiter to not like overdrive the signal too much going into the master bus. So please join me, and if you have some questions, put your questions in the comment section down below. This specific tutorial is actually for my students who are following the mentorship program I'm giving. So if you're interested in it, check it out, what it's all about. I'll put a link in the description down below and you can check it out. If you're interested in the samples, I will be using the kick loop. I'll also put a link in the description down below. It's the sample stream, sample pack. I would say enjoy this session and I hope you learn a few things. So let's jump into Ableton and let's see what I can do only using the compressor to make the kick loop sound different in a few ways. So join me and enjoy the process. So here we are, we have the sample stream kick loop. It's a 130 BPM loop. I have two variations and here is the new drum loop I'm going to record. Here I put a few compressors. We have the Teletronics LA2A, the LA3A, the limiting amplifier, it's the 1176 LN, and then we have just the Ableton compressor, which you can see here. And just let's start with the Ableton compressor. Let's get this loop starting. So here we see what the envelope of the kick is doing. We have this little peak in the beginning, we go straight up and then we have the tail and then we go back to the following drum beat. So this is the threshold. Let's see the ratio. We can put it 1:1 and then actually it's not doing that much. Let's see, threshold on 0. If we lower the threshold, let's do this, it's not affecting anything. You can look and there's nothing happening. So if we adjust the ratio, I'm gonna do it like this, then you can see that the compressor starts to compress the waveform, and so the volume is getting lower and lower. We can add the makeup and then the tonality of the kick loop changes, but the volume stays more or less the same. So the more ratio to 1, then the more the compressor will actually act. The threshold, if you go lower and lower, actually in Ableton it's quite nice. You can look at where the kick is going volume wise and you can like adjust the ratio, the threshold to what it's doing, and then you can very nicely see that when it's acting, the compressor, when it's working, it won't go lower than your threshold. So if we lower the threshold, then the compressor will work harder and compress the sound further. These are the basics of how a compressor works. We also have like an output volume in which we can drive the signal, and then we have the attack and the release time. If we give the attack a little more ramp, the initial hit of the drum will come through. So if we have like this big ratio, then the peak, the hit of the drum, it will be compressed also. If we like expand it and give it a slope, then the punch will come through, because if we like put a little decay slope on the attack of the compressor isn't working yet when the kick hits. So this way we can like round off the initial punch of the kick. Release works kind of similar. If we put the release very tight, it directly drops. If we like expand it, it will put more focus on the tail, and it will soften it all up. And if we put a lot of release, it will flatten out, because yeah, then the compressor is still working when the next beat falls, and then yeah, you can also see like the orange line here that it's getting really flat. So the compressor is like working all the time, yeah, compressing the living shit out of the wave file, the kick drum. So we can shape it the way we want. I'm gonna go for a little less threshold, a little less compression ratio, maybe some more volume, that it distorts a little bit. It's quite nice, I think, and really got this thing working. Quicker release, and the attack, yeah, we can play with maybe a little bit more threshold. So if we do like before and after, I'll bypass this. You can clearly hear a difference in the kick loop. So let's record this for a few bars. Add another plugin, maybe just put it here, then you can see what I'm doing. Let's first adjust everything. We also have a ratio and attack and release, different meterings, output and input, and yeah, this is a little bit more limited than the compressor in Ableton, but it has a nice sound to it. We can do nice stuff with it. So if I scroll through these ratios, the way the compressor or limiter works is different. Let's first take a look. You can see the metering actually a little bit how this works. You can see the metering, you can see how much the signal is compressed. So same with the attack, the release. The bigger the number, the quicker the attack. And release, if I'm correctly. But adding this to the mix, yeah, this is a really good plugin and it gives a lot of character. Okay, this is more contained, so yeah, let's just record this one. And of course we can loop it and use it in whatever project we want. So this is this. Now let's see. We have other compressors too. So maybe go to the LA3A, which has not that many factors you can adjust. Parameters, it's just gain and peak reduction. You can put it in compressor or limiter modus, and you can yeah, bypass it and stuff. So let's first see with just the compressor in the mix. It already gives character, and actually if I'm going to go berserk with this, a lot of peak reduction, adding gain, it really makes it like a heavy pound stop it. Let's take a look. Put it on the bottom one. Yeah. So this is our first loop. The Ableton compressed signal. Really dirty one. The 1176 LA. Let's put this like that. And our second loop, let me first add a few of these. Okay, so yeah, maybe this compressors and on the expand. So now it works in like the opposite direction. Let me see. So when I do this, the slope is like so slow that yeah, you don't have any attack anymore. I can add a little bit of output. This is nice, and we see how it works. Actually, was a little bit this punch, maybe like this is cool. And you can take a look at also really cool. Let's record one of these. Release ratio, threshold and makeup. So the threshold is actually the same as with the other plugin. Makeup, you can dial it in. In the other one you just put makeup and it will match the sound of the incoming signal to the outgoing signal, the original incoming signal I mean. Attack, slower attack means more of the punch of the sound will come through, and then the ratio. Most of the time I put it on 4. Higher the ratio, the more it gets compressed. The lower ratio, the less it will affect the sound. And then we have the range. The compressor will work, it will squeeze everything out of it. Now it clips. Can also go to soft clipping. This initial punch through, and then this is very nice, the dry and wet, because you can really dial it in. Or go full on berserk with the compression. Let's just record it and then scroll through the variations on the original. Have been recording. So let me see. And also first let me stop it and go to the master from this, the original one. We have the original kick loop, then we have the compressed loop, have the 1176 LN loop, which has this nice crunch to it, this long tail, this full sound. adds some drive, adds a little bit of tail. Subtle, but I like it. Not really subtle, but way more subtle than the 1176. So LA3A, the LA2A, really full. LA2A with different settings. Not too much of a difference. Of course, compared to the original, this LA2A version is way more punchy. I wouldn't say it's like it's way more overdriven, but you can do it with a compressor, no problem. And then we have this glue compressor from Ableton, which adds a little bit more tail and fullness to the sound, a little drive, saturation, and then comparing to the original one, let's put this glue compressor back on with different settings and compare these two. A little bit shorter decay, more drive, more saturation, more dry wet signal. So let's record this perhaps since only, then we can drum loop, record it. Let's see. Okay, this was soloed, so let's put a solo up. And let's record this loop. What I can do is export these loops and just add them to the sample pack. So yeah, maybe as a freebie or just as some extra drum loops. Yeah, I would say look them up. It's in the description down below. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you want to be notified when upcoming videos get published. And yeah, I would say I hope you enjoyed this video and you learned a few things. So thank you for watching and see you next time.